Hello, everybody, and we are back with Game 2 of Dirt Nap Gaming versus TLC. Once again, I am Asylum, joined again by Nubius. Wow, what an awesome first game that was, Nubius.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. We saw a very late game, essentially team comp, go up against a very poke heavy team comp, and a little bit of back and forth in the early game. Actually very action packed, but in the end, we did see Dirt Nap Gaming come ahead and take the victory just because they were able to snowball ahead with Misfortune and shut down Ash. But now we are seeing Nocturne get banned out by TLC and almost call him Dignitas. Dirt Nap Gaming banning out Kale. So I'm not sure if TLC has some sort of odd strat up their sleeve with Kale, but Kale's also still a decently strong pick even after her changes. But TLC, they want nothing to do with Dirt Nap Gaming's last team comp, which was heavily focused around Nocturne and Singed.
Right, and taking that engage away from them, it's going to be interesting to see how Dirt Nap Gaming adjusts to it as we see Jarvan the Fourth now being banned out from the side of Dirt Nap Gaming. An interesting ban. Again, a very good early game jungler can also be up in that top lane. I'm really interested to see how they plan to work around these bans with the TF ban now coming out for the side of TLC.
Well, that leaves a whole lot more picks open. So heck, if they don't ban out Hecarim will be free. Vi will also be free. Thresh is going to be open. A lot of really strong early game picks, and then also swiftly moving into mid and late game. They're just strong overall picks. But now they're now getting banning out Shen, so removing a little bit of global presence. Shen, Nocturne, and Twisted Fate all being off the table, but TLC immediately locking in Lulu, but it allows for Maple Street to get his most coveted AD carry, Draven.
And that insta lock just goes to show you the confidence that Maple Street has in that champion and his skill in the champion. And Evan Iskus locking in that Blitzcrank yet again. I'm actually really surprised to not see Blitzcrank be banned.
Yeah, well, I don't think that TLC found Blitzcrank to be the problem. There was a request that he not use the eye Blitzcrank skin because the poll is it's kind of hard to see. It also seems to be coming off a little bit quick. So just out of respect, they're going to stray away from that skin. That might make a difference in lane phase. We'll see. But the Lulu Ezreal pick, fantastic poke. So it looks like they're already starting. TLC's already starting off with a little bit of a poke comp. But the only issue is one grab onto Lulu, and Maple Street can easily shred her down very quickly because Draven's early game damage is tremendous. But TLC looks like they're also locking in a Nunu. So are we going to be seeing a solo lane Lulu? Are we seeing a jungle Nunu? Who knows?
You know, it's really interesting. I like the Nunu pick. He's gotten a lot stronger in the jungle with the season 3 changes, and you don't really see him a whole lot, but his attack speed slow is what I believe they're going for with his snowball, because Draven, he can get his whirling axes out extremely quickly in the early to mid game. And Nunu's snowball with that attack speed debuff can shut that down, as we actually see Calamist hovering over Malphite, banned in the last game, now being hovered over right now. They're looking, from at least what I see so far, with Lee Sin now being hovered over as well. Now Dr. Mundo. I'm looking to see a very heavy all-in engage comp coming out from Team Dirt Nap.
Well, it's all in engagement at the same time. If you take a look at these picks, it's also a protect the Draven comp because Draven, his damage is so strong early game because he's able to manage the axes very well. He has enough room. He's not being focused too heavily because in a 1-on-1, 2-on-2 engagement, it's still very easy to, relatively speaking, to catch those axes and keep churning out the damage. But in a 5v5 situation, you're going to be seeing champions that can dive onto that AD carry, as you see right here. We may be seeing Grim Samurai locking in that Renekton pick. Renekton, he can use his Slice and Dice to use one charge to go through the front line, the next charge to jump onto Draven, and that could be very troublesome. But if you look, Mundo, Blitzcrank, Malphite, three relatively meaty champs that also provide some good control. It'll give from Maple Street some sort of a little bit more confidence in terms of allowing him to essentially free cast his auto attacks and picking up those axes. So, but one difference we are seeing is it, TLC has a slightly modified poke comp. They have Lulu, Ezreal, and Lux, all very good with poke, but at the same time, they have the ability to team fight fairly well. On top of that, because Renekton, he can build very tanky and still deal a decent amount of damage. Lulu is actually surprisingly decent with the damage going into the early bit of the mid game and going through to the solid part of mid game. Late game, she definitely falls off unless she builds some sort of damage. But then that's where the Nunu Ezreal combination comes in, combined with Lux, and Lux's late game is oh so strong. But what TLC is going to have to do is they're still going to have to rely on a little bit of poke, but nowhere near to the amount that they had with their last team comp. As you see, Katarina actually being locked in, so we could see here in the mid or top lane, because she is a very, very strong top laner. Even after all the changes that Riot tried to throw in there, they tried to remove her from building straight tank. They tried to change her from going Magic Pen. So now we could be seeing a little bit of a hybrid between Magic Pen and raw damage, kind of going back to the major arena that we all knew and loved. But in terms of difference in team comp, we have Dirtnap Gaming that's more relying once again on an all-in situation because they're looking to get the reset onto Katarina and then in turn also keep Draven fairly healthy, able to keep those axes rolling. Whereas TLC, they have actually a fairly decent disengage comp, and then they could also re-engage on top of that because the Nunu ultimate, it looks like he is going to be jungle Nunu. Haven't seen him in quite some time, especially with the change to the jungle, but he still should be fairly potent. His ganks are also very strong, as you can see. The only person that has a real ability to dash away from a Nunu gank is going to be Katarina. Everyone else is going to kind of rely on a summoner spell. But as we see here, Nunu excuse me, Dr. Mundo, I don't know if you remove the summoner blockers yet. Dr. Mundo running exhaust, so he's not going to be able to really get away from anything without having his ultimate up. So that's going to make life a little bit tricky, especially going up against a counter jungler like Nunu. Because Mundo he can land those cleavers, he can also put that exhaust down. But Nunu with the snowball and blood boil, he could still potentially escape pursuing Dr. Mundo.
Right, and just looking again really quick at the team comps, from the side of Dirtnap, I see four frontline. We've got Blitzcrank who can get up there and cause all kinds of disruption. We have Mundo with his slow, with his AoE damage. We have Malphite with that hard engage and that attack speed debuff. And then we have Katarina who gets in there and just deals massive, massive damage. And then you've got Maple Street sitting in the back, just, going on his happy way, throwing axes, doing the things that Draven does. And then on the side of TLC, we've got two frontliners. We've got the Nunu coming out of the jungle, and we have Grim Samurai. So what I'm seeing from TLC is that there's going to be a lot of peel that needs to happen in order to keep the front line of Dirt Nap Gaming off of their carries. Now, Bell has a decent amount of poke as well, a decent amount of peel, and also a really good ultimate that he could throw on a samurai, but I'm seeing a little difficulty that could ensue from them should the front line break through.
Yeah, but one thing I want to make note of is Grim Samurai and Renekton. Renekton is a very heavy physical damage champion going up against Malphite, but he could actually easily zone out Malphite because Malphite's mana costs are fairly pricey, and he can try to harass Renekton all he wants, but his seismic shard has a fairly high cooldown in comparison to Renekton's cooldowns and damage potential. So Renekton could easily bully out Malphite, kind of shut him down early on, and like we were talking about in the lobby of the first game, Malphite he can throw his ult in and get the nice little disruption on that, but then right just shortly after, easily be blown up because he can be denied so much farm. So there's potential that we may be seeing Renekton going up against a 1 vs 2 Blitzcrank Draven because for the simple fact that Malphite is a better 1v2 laner than Renekton is.
I do agree with that. And in the 2v1 situation, which we may very well see again, we saw it in the first game, Renekton will be able to slice and dice, get in and out, whereas Malphite, he really doesn't have anything. He'll be forced to farm under the turret and lose a lot of CS because of that. So the early game advantage, at least as far as the top laners are concerned, I see going in the favor of Grim Samurai. But we are just about done with the spectator delay, folks. We're going to go ahead and throw a quick ad up while we load into the game. Don't go anywhere. This is the Virtual Warfare Community Showdown. Alright, commercials playing. People with ad block can still hear us because you guys are awesome like that. And I got the good old bug where I've got to maximize. There we go. And we are back with game 2 of Dirt Nap Gaming versus TLC here in the Virtual Warfare Community Showdown. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I know I appreciate it. I know everybody over at Virtual Warfare appreciates it. If you guys like what you're seeing, go ahead and tweet at them at VW Showdown and let them know, hey, awesome cast, or anything that we can do to improve it. It would be really awesome. The feedback we always, of course, appreciate, and I'm sure the people over at Virtual Warfare would appreciate that as well. So, Nubius, do you think our level 1's going to be looking like here?
We potentially could be seeing an invade with the Blitzcrank pick, because Draven's damage level 1 is just so high with those spinning axes. But the thing is, Malphite, Mundo, and Katarina, they're kind of lacking. But a huge point I want to make, though, take a look at Katarina's summoner spells. If any of you guys have heard of, what's this certain summoner name? Slipping my mind in a moment, but running Ignite and Heal. So big all-in summoner spells, not looking to flash away from anything, just trying. Ooh, take a look. Nunu getting caught out by Draven right now, but is Draven going to get caught out by the rest of the enemy team?
408 and Maple Street actually getting taken down pretty low as the Blitz, Flash, and Pull goes in. The exhaust going down on Arthalon. Samurai's getting in there nice and heavily. Maple Street now getting some harass down there onto Parole as Malphite's going to pick up the first blood there onto Lux. Parole getting taken down very low too by Draven as we see Zhang going in on 408. 408 down really low. He's going to try to flash over the wall, but Zev's Cleaver is going to go ahead and pick that up. A 2-0 exchange in favor of Dirt Nap Gaming.
Just about every single summoner spell being blown, with the exception of Cleanse from Draven and Flash from Nunu. So essentially every single lane is open to being ganked, and we could be seeing some very early ganks with very fast kills coming out in the near future. But a huge issue being 2 kills for Dirt Nap Gaming. So unlike the start of last game where they only got 1, they now secure 2 and many summoner spells going down. So Mundo's starting out with Madrid's Razors. He picked up that kill onto Nunu. And then Malphite also able to go Boots, Cloth Armor, Ward, and several potions on top of that. So he's going to be very healthy compared to Renekton, who only has a Ward and a couple potions. Is it 2 wards or 1 ward? Looks like 1 ward.
It's a single ward with three potions. We are talking about Malphite, correct?
Yeah. Talking about Renekton going up against Malphite, yes.
Yeah, Renekton is starting off with a ward and only 3 potions. He did burn quite a few there in that last engagement. The only saving grace I see for TLC right now in that level 1 fight would be the fact that the kills went to the top lane in the jungle. Neither of the carries were able to secure any of those kills. They did get assists, so they are still getting a little bit of that extra gold. But thankfully, they were able to not get the kills onto the carries right now, as Evaniscus actually pulling Bell in quite heavily. The damage from those axes just too much as the bleed is ticking down. Bell getting taken very low, and Parole now getting extremely low as well. Maple Street sitting at around 150 HP after that engagement. Another win for the side of Dirt Nap Gaming.
Yeah, but the saving grace, what kept Parole alive was a last-second glitterance from Obel on Lulu. And if that didn't go down, Maple Street would easily be able to catch that axe and instantly finish off Parole. So, but now instead Parole is going to be able to slowly but surely auto-attack, heal his way up. And those Qs that he's going to toss out will also proc. Oh wow, just barely Arcane shifting out of that Blitzcrank grab. You can see he took the damage, but wasn't pulled in. Very nicely done. That could have been absolutely devastating.
And it looks like 408's going to be trying to get a gank down here in the bottom lane. They're not going to see this coming until it's a little too late. The cleanse coming out a little early for Maple Street. The slow going down. Evaniscus going ahead, knocking 408 up. The slow and knock away going from Maple Street. And Bell is going to go ahead and pick up that kill. Evaniscus now on the run.
It, this is almost a mirror of the last game, or a clone of the last game, because we saw early kills go in favor of Dirt Net Gaming, but then TLC came back, picked up a few kills, but the kills went on to the support, and that's what held back Ashe last game. And I wonder if we're going to see a repeat of the kills going on to Lulu, and will hold back Ezreal. But at the same time, it's going to allow Ezreal to freeform a little bit. He's going to be able to start pulling ahead of Draven at this point in time, but Draven's still going to be a very big bully. So he has a Doran's Blade Longsword, a couple of health potions. Meanwhile, Ezreal 000 just having the 23 CS, so we'll see how that one does work out for him going towards the mid game, because that's when Ezreal needs to essentially be the most effective, because more likely than not, he's going to be going for the likes of a Blade of the Ruined King, Iceborne Gauntlet kind of build, where not heavy damage, but good poke, good kiting ability. And if he can stay alive throughout a long team fight, that's going to work out well for him. But with the upfront all-in burst from Dirt Nap Gaming, it's going to be very, very tough.
And we actually see Kelsey getting taken down quite low by 408 there in the middle lane, as she's going to go ahead and back off. The bottom lane for TLC
Grim
is
Samurai
now
getting dove in the top lane, and not going to go down to the Ignite.
Getting hit really extremely hard there by Zevs and Calamus. Thankfully, though, for him, he survived with about 40 HP there.
Yeah, the health potion saved his life. Ignite was burned from Calamix on Malphite, and he looked like he was going to go down. They kind of walked away thinking it was going to be the final tick, but I do believe that Grim Samurai was able to get off a Q, which gave him a little bit of a heal that called on Meek, doing a tiny little bit of heal considering the Ignite was running, and then with the health potion on top of that, he was able to just barely get away, and that's actually a huge advantage on his part, because even though Renekton did burn his Ignite, he didn't quite have Flash up, but it will be up then for the next time, so Malphite and Renekton going to have Flash up for the next engagement, but I do believe that Grim Samurai could easily win out the next engage, just simply because of that slice and dice.
And with Ezra coming back into lane, he's decided to pick up a second Doran's Blade and grab a little more health potions. It's showing that he wants to stay in that lane for as long as humanly possible. Dirt Nap Gaming is going to ping out that 408 is down there in the bottom lane, and they're going to go ahead and try to get the disengage down on here. The Polymorph going down ignites all around. Maple Street's getting taken very, very low. The pull on the Parole now. He's taking a lot of damage, but the Mystic
Max
shot.
range Mystic shot. Wow, very nicely done.
Take him out as Zev's actually now coming into the fray. The snowball going down from 408 onto him. They're going to try to take Parole down here as Kelsey's roaming down, trying to get it. He's going to hit the full combo. The ultimate going off, getting the reset. Bell taking so much damage from there, but being able to get out of there as Zevs is going to pick up the kill on Bell. Samurai now also trying to get a little bit of a harass down on Calamist as Lux is making her way down into the bottom lane, going to try to make something happen here. She's going to throw her E into the brush and find nobody home, and Durnap Gaming is going to walk away with this 2-for-none.
And Kelsey Jung barely getting away with her life on Katarina, all because of that summoner heal. Diving under the tower, picking up 2 kills. Lulu, who is running Ignite, a very European thing to do nowadays, but it's also super aggressive. She used the Ignite thinking that the tower, and combined with the Ignite, would be able to clean up that kill, but the heal just barely allowing her to get away. So now another exchange of kills, and you point out earlier, it carries in Gani, but now Katarina 102, only very slightly behind in farm, but she should be decently ahead in gold compared to Lux right now. We take a look, Katarina pushing 2,500 gold compared to Lux, who's just hovering at about 2,100. And a Katarina that's starting to snowball is going to be very scary, even for a Lux who has a on-command shield.
And Parole actually getting pulled in the bottom lane by Evaniscus, taking a lot of damage here. Maple Street trying to force them off. Then they're going to go ahead and back this one away, as Zevs is actually pinging to say, hey, I want to come down for a lane gank. Is it clear? We don't think so, so he's going to go ahead and back it off here. Evaniscus getting a really good pull there on Parole, catching him quite off guard.
Yeah, but now, in terms of Malphite and Mundo getting kills, it's not the worst thing in the world for them to be getting them, because junglers and top laners nowadays, they're looking to try to tower dive early on to try to shut down their counterpart lanes. So Mundo and Malphite getting those kills allowed them to get some early armor. So we could be seeing tower dives come out on Grim Samurai, even though he does have that ultimate, which will give him health on command, and you can see he also has a fortitude pot. It looks like he actually may be expecting a dive in the near future. but you have that Malphite ult, the Mundo ultimate. It's going to be very tough for him to survive any sort of tower dive.
And with Adams coming out, it looks like he may be going for a quicker. He might be either going for a Ninja Tabi or he might be going for a quick Locket, which is just going to help them even more in this early game, as we just saw in the bottom lane. The nice dive coming out from Evaniscus and from Zevs. It's going to be real interesting to see how they go ahead and go about this, as Parole taking a lot of damage, but Maple Street getting hit pretty hard as well. The ultimate's coming out. Maple Street's going to get taken out by Parole. Evaniscus trying to do what he can to make sure he can secure that kill, but the double kill coming out for Parole. An excellent play on the side of Team TLC, as Zhang taking a lot of harass from Arthalon there in the middle lane. They're going to go ahead and put some pressure here on this mid turret. Zevs, though, also here to give a little bit of backup for Katarina here in the middle lane as the bouncing blades go out, but not doing too much damage, and they're going to go ahead and back off of this one.
And now Kelsey Zhang, her heal isn't quite up. You can see getting fairly low on health. One little combo from Lux could spell disaster, so you can see her go back, and Zevs is going to try to do what he can to hold off this tower push, and looks like she's actually not opting to go back. They may be expecting a tower dive shortly. Nexon is up in that top lane though, but oh man, look at that damage. Even though Zevs does have a giant spell, you can see how much damage. It looks like that was about 400 to 500 damage on that combo. Oof, that could have been very rough if Noon decided to go all in on that one.
And Lux's early game with that final spark is just doing so much to keep Kelsey out of that lane as much as possible. As you can see, the farm is still fairly even. Katarina's still a little bit ahead in gold, but Zev's now trying to stop this turret from going down. Blowing the ultimate, still taking a lot of damage. The absolute zero just absolutely chunking him. He's going to blow the flash off, and Arthalon's going to go ahead and pick up the kill. As we also see Evaniscus actually deciding to make an appearance here in the lane. He's at full HP. He doesn't have a whole lot in the way of damage, but he's going to go ahead and force them away.
With Evaniscus showing his face in the mid lane, that was kind of the okay go-ahead for TLC's bot lane of Ezreal Lulu to go kind of crazy onto Maple Street. They're trying to force him to back off from farming, and with the Glow Lance from Lulu in combination with her, in combination with her Whimsy, it's going to provide a lot of control. And without Blitzcrank there to try to do provide the control that he has.
And we see Kelsey Zhang actually coming down. Bell getting taken extremely low, but the Wild Growth is going to stop Katarina's ultimate. She is going to get the kill and get the reset, but she is on the run now as Parole trying to land that Mystic shot. But nobody is home. Maple Street and Parole now dueling it out in the bottom lane. Maple Street just out of turret range. They're going to go ahead and get some damage down onto this turret. Evaniscus might be going in on this one, and they definitely are. The exhaust getting blown. Parole getting taken up very low. The kill going on to Maple Street, flashing out and blowing the cleanse to try to keep any kind of damage that could possibly come out. Unfortunately, there's no ignite, so I don't really see why he blew the cleanse there, but still a great play from Maple Street.
He really didn't need to blow either of them, but I think that he was expecting Lux to be somewhere nearby. It's like, alright, if there's a light binding there, I'm going to make sure that thing's off me no matter what. But at the same time, he also could have just kind of fat-fingered that cleanse. The flash may not have been necessary, but the cleanse definitely wasn't necessary. And he even said in chat, best flash cleanse of my life. And I'm pretty sure that was meant 100% in jest. So...
And unfortunately for the stream, I've got the chat turned off, so we can still see the game. Samurai now looking to go in on Calamus, blowing his ultimate, getting a little bit of that rage built up. He's going to go ahead and pressure. Looking at the CS, Malphite actually not too far behind. He's only about 20 CS behind, but he does have a kill under his belt as well. So the gold going to be fairly even there. 3.6k, or 3.7k, sorry, for Malphite, and right around the same for the Renekton, Grim Samurai, and Calamus being very even in that top lane.
Yeah, something that I want to add is Malphite did get that first blood, so he did get 400 gold. So even though he's behind just over 20 CS right now, that first blood gold, if it was a normal kill, for a kill counts close to like 17 to 19 farm, but with first blood, it's way more. So Malphite is actually technically ahead at this point in time.
Technically, he is a little bit ahead. That Chain Vest is going to be helping him out a lot with
We're
that
going to be
burst
seeing a
coming
double
up.
gank in the top lane.
And we are seeing a double gank in the top lane. It's going to be a 3v1. 408 trying to get in there. Are they going to try to dive this one? No. Arthalon's just going to go ahead and throw the light binding out and miss it. The ping's going down in the bottom lane. Evaniscus blowing his steroid to try to get up in there. And the ward going down in the tri-brush. Going to be caught out here by the side of TLC as there is a pink ward. The pink ward might not be able to see it. I'm not 100% sure on that. As Grim Samurai actually going ahead and picking up the kill there in the top lane as we were watching the dragon, as Dirtnap Gaming goes ahead and picks that one up. They're looking to engage here as Kelsey Zhang now making another appearance down in the bottom lane. Oh, Bell getting hit pretty hard, but the wild growth is going to stop any kind of engagement coming on from Kelsey.
Yep, and Malphite was forced to use Flash and his ultimate trying to escape that kill, but the final Ignite coming out from Renekton was enough to clean up that kill.
As Zev's actually coming in, it's going to be 3v1 on Obel. Obel's going to be taken down by Zev's. Maple Street is going to go ahead and just sit back and say, you know what? You guys take that one. I'm going to sit back and farm. I want to catch back up because Ezreal is a little bit ahead of me, so you know what? You guys have fun. We're going to go ahead and take this tower. Parole trying to get as much damage down as possible, and the tier 3, the inhibitor turret from top lane, actually in danger now, as TLC is going to go ahead, blow their Shirelius Reverie, and try to disengage from this.
So that is a huge, huge victory for TLC, and Calamus might be getting blown up. Lux's ultimate is up, but Nunu trying to do an Empire, but nothing's going to come of it. Very nicely done with that ward in the red bush, because if Malphite did manage to walk in there, he didn't have any means of escaping the Nunu ultimate. He would have easily been melted.
And he would have been melted in quite short time, as Arthalon now going to go ahead and make his way down towards the bottom lane. It looks like they're going to try to set up another gank here onto Maple Street.
Yeah, but now TLC finally having a gold lead, their first gold lead in 2 games so far. And those two top turrets going down, and did they do any damage to that inhibitor turret? They did a tiny little bit, nothing significant, but they're finally starting to take control. I think they're getting their confidence back. They're realizing that they can outplay a Blitzcrank Draven lane fairly easily, just simply because of the control that Lulu brings and the escape potential from Ezreal. So that's allowing Lux and Nunu to roam other places and try to get Renekton a nice big lead. So,
and you know, also with this, we actually see Samurai coming down into the bottom lane, but we see Dirtnap Gaming collapsing on this. It's going to be a 3-on-3 engagement here underneath the turret. As Evaniscus going to get blown up here by Lux. Kelsey coming in, trying to get the ultimate off, but the wild growth is going to go ahead and take care of that. It's going to take her down. Zev's now getting taken low. Maple Street's going to go ahead and go down here to 408, and Zev's finds himself all alone. 4v1 here is going to get taken down by that scumbag Lulu, and Calamus just a little too late on that one, as he's going to be forced to sit back and try to defend this tier 2 turret.
Wow, what a cleanup. Who would have thought we'd see this kind of turnaround in this game, considering TLC's performance in the last game, but very nicely done. They are now making this a 5-0 tower lead. Now they have an advantage of just over 4,000 gold, and I can't wait to see what items come out next for TLC, because we see Renekton has Sunfire Cape and Warren's Mail being completed. Looks like he's going to go for potentially either a Frozen Heart or a Randuin's. He does have that cloth armor. More likely than not, though, going to be going towards Ninja Tabby Boots, and we'll probably pick up that Randuin's Omen to try to keep Mundo, Draven, and Malphite locked down. It's kind of hard to lock down a Katarina, especially since she really doesn't do any physical damage, and with her Shunpo can jump around to fight very easily.
You know, watching 408 and Kelsey there in the mid lane, Kelsey is a little bit behind here. He's got the Haunting Guys and the Arm Guard, but he's not doing a whole lot of damage there to the side of TLC, and Nunu in particular. The Aegis already being completed on that Nunu, so he's going to have that little extra magic resist to keep him from taking too much damage from anything that Kelsey could bring out on him. But one thing I also do want to bring up is the engagements coming from Dirtnap Gaming. I think maybe a little bit premature, as Kelsey goes in, and as soon as she throws her Death Lotus, the wild growth comes out from Obel, and the damage and everything from it is just completely negated.
Well, actually, the wild growth does not negate Death Lotus, as we see a big engagement coming out under the tower.
Grim Samurai getting in there nice and heavily, taking Kelsey Zhang out very quickly. 4 on parole going ahead and picking up that one. Maple Street going in, trying to blow the crash, trying to get out of that absolute zero, but nothing's coming of it. A double kill coming out for parole now, picking up Malphite. The final spark coming out from Lux, not doing a whole lot as it didn't hit anybody, but Zevs now on the run. Grim Samurai is going to go ahead and pick that up in a 4-0 exchange in favor of TLC.
Wow, so another big team fight, and now it looks like they're going to be going for Baron. And there's going to be no real way for Dirt Game to contest this one. The only issue being, if you take a look, the health levels are all still fairly low. But if Renekton plays his cards right, he should be able to slowly but surely, by using his Q, heal up very nicely. Nunu with Consume should also be able to heal up decently. And then Lulu and Ezreal are also going to help in tanking. You see them trading off back and forth, getting the closest to Baron. And now all 5 members of TLC picking up that Baron buff. This is going to be very, very scary for Dirt Gaming right now.
Very, very scary indeed, as Arthlong's going to go ahead and pick up this blue buff here. Now they are down by almost 7,000 gold. And they've got a Baron buff on top of that. It's going to be really rough for Dirt Gaming to try to recover from this, but, you know, it's not impossible. We've seen crazier things happen. Even in the Rising Stars Invitational, we've seen Dirt Gaming come back from some really almost dire situations. So it's going to be real interesting to see how they play when they're on the back foot.
Yeah, and now just look at the sheer item difference. We see Mundo and Malphite with essentially the same items. The only difference being, oh, it looks like my dog is about to start announcing his presence in the house.
Outstanding. Go ahead and go take care of that. As we actually look at the items, comparing on Malphite and Dr. Mundo, they have virtually the same items. The only difference being, of course, instead of the Chain Fest on Dr. Mundo, we see the Ruby Pendant and the Rejuvenation Bead. So they're both looking to be as tanky as they possibly can be. Unfortunately, the resists that are coming out are just not enough to deal with the pressure that TLC is putting on, being so far ahead in these items. And Renekton, already having a Sunfire Cape completed and a Warden's Mail with the Giant spell, he's going to be looking to finish that Randuin's Omen very, very quickly, as Maple Street, already having the Bloodthirster out, looking to finish that Zeal. They are quite a bit behind here, as the Siege now going down. Evaniscus pulling 408 in, all the ultimates going off. Arthlong's going to go ahead and pick up that kill. Calamus now going in with the ultimate. Zhong going, the Wild Growth actually canceling the ultimate there of Kelsey Zhong. And Samurai picking up another kill onto Zevs as they're going ahead to take out this turret. Parole tanking the turret right now as they're going to go ahead, get that tier 2 turret taken care of. And they just won another exchange, 3-0 underneath the turret.
And even though there was a very nice pull from Meniscus, a binding and an ultimate from Arthlon on Lux, you saw him instantly get wiped from the map. And without that silence, the silence actually plays a big role in the team fight, because if you take a look, Renekton, a big AD caster, Ezreal, AD caster, Lux clearly a caster, and Lulu also requires abilities to do any sort. Lulu requires abilities to do any sort of control and or damage in the middle of a fight. And having those 1 to 2 seconds from the silence or Blitzcrank, it allows Malphite to then follow up in turn, so they can have it 3 to 4 seconds of crowd control. And with an all-in team comp like that, that's really all Dirt Gaming really needs. But now a 10,000 gold lead in favor of TLC. They just picked up that dragon. They pushed down that middle inhibitor. Oof. Even with a pretty strong late game comp from Dirt Gaming, with being behind by that much, I actually think TLC, it's going to be very tough for them to throw this one away.
You know, it's getting close to what I call the mercy rule, where they're just so far ahead that it's physically impossible for them to come back. 10,000 gold at about 22 minutes in, that's a very substantial lead. Add on top of that the roughly 4,000 gold that Baron buff provides, just in stats alone, they are quite ahead in this exchange. The second game's turning out to be really quite the opposite of what this first game was.
Alright, so I just took a second because I talked to a couple members from Riot, and initially they had told me that Lulu's ultimate actually doesn't interrupt Katarina's ultimate, but I looked into it a little bit further, and it turns out that the discussion that we had was very much incorrect, so I kind of was relying on that information, because when I talked to him about it, like, it doesn't make sense. It's a knockup. It interrupts abilities. You think that would work? Like apparently no, because Katarina she's just spinning. She's standing in place with her channel. Oh, we see another big engagement under the top inhibitor tower.
And Samurai going in quite deep. The Wild Growth going out on Samurai, getting so tanky. Calamus kind of sitting in there all by his lonesome, trying to deal as much interruption as possible, but Arthon's going to go ahead and pick that up. Evaniscus throwing his ultimate down, but unfortunately not hitting anybody. Zhang getting back in, trying to get the save there, but Maple Street's going to go ahead and pick up the kill there. Onto Ezreal as Ezreal takes down Kelsey there. The Maple Street now getting taken down quite low. He's all by himself 2v1. Arthalon's going to go ahead and pick that kill up. This 408 is going to go ahead and continue the assault. Evaniscus pulling in Bell there as he's getting chunked very low. Samurai going to go ahead and pick up the kill there onto Blitzcrank as Zevs finds himself 4v1 trying to take it down. His AoE is going to take 408 down, but now he's taken extremely low. Arthalon trying to go ahead and pick up the kill, throwing the barrier out so he doesn't get hit too much more by that turret. It's going to go ahead and pick that up. An unofficial ace coming out from the side of TLC underneath 2 towers essentially.
So now 23 kills to 10. Wow, what a number. And then also take a look at the farm. Maple Street has been able to actually stay ahead of Ezreal, surprisingly enough. But Ezreal, Blade of the Ruin King, Infinity Edge, and Double Doran's Blade, he picked up those Double Dorans early on in the game just to try to survive the burst from Blitzcrank Draven. And it was actually a very good decision on his part, as it turns out. Because generally speaking, you see that those 80 carries go for Doran's Blade Vampiric Scepter just to try to sustain a lane. But when you go up against a heavy burst lane, you just want to have some health to get you through the burst combo that they have. And as you saw, it was very successful.
As we can see, it is definitely paying off in spades for TLC, as the burst now is just being almost completely negated by the sustain of that Blade of the Ruined King and the Iron Locket of the Solari that's now finished on Lulu. We have so much going out as Kelsey is in a lot of trouble here, as Arthalon and Grim Samurai are actually going in the final spark.
With a beautiful Zhonya's!
But a beautiful Zhonya's, the Q from Grim Samurai is going to go ahead and clean that one up. A little too late there for Kelsey, as Callum is now getting caught by that line binding. They're going to go ahead and dive onto this turret. Grim Samurai taking a fair amount of damage there, but all the shielding coming out from Team TLC is going to negate most of that damage, as the tier 3 top turret now going down. The second inhibitor is now in danger for Dirtnap Gaming, as the snare actually going down. The engage from Calamus going in 4v5 here. Or not, Pearl's going to go ahead and pick that one up. Another final spark coming out from Lux is going to go ahead and clean up this fight. Arthalon is now legendary, as Evaniscus getting taken down by Grim Samurai, and that top inhibitor now being taken down. Dirtnap Gaming is looking very dire for them.
Yeah, I don't think that there's going to be a for Dirtnap Gaming to come back unless you see the members of TLC just dive under the fountain turret. But even then, they might have too much health and armor to die very rapidly from that as well. Because I believe it does 1,000 damage, 1,000 true damage a second. But take a look at the health bars of TLC. So many of them, and they also have quite a bit of armor stacked up. So they even though it's not very relevant, they could tank that inhibitor tower, or the Nexus tower.
And that is the Nexus. We are now 1-1 in the series of Dirtnap Gaming versus TLC. A great exchange there. Now we're all even in the series. What are your thoughts there on that?
Well, first game we saw Dirtnap Gaming be very dominant. They shut down the big poke comp of TLC, and they looked like they were just playing so well, pretty much outplaying every lane of TLC. But now in this game, even with Dirtnap Gaming picking up 2 kills very early on, TLC was able to stay healthy. They were able to farm out, and in turn build tanky enough to survive the upfront burst that Dirtnap Gaming had. And Dirtnap Gaming's comp was all about getting in there, wiping out 3 to 4 members of TLC within a couple of seconds. If they didn't do that, they were kind of in trouble, and TLC was able to farm up enough. They got those tanky items. We see a Sunfire, Randuin's, another Kindle Gem just on Renekton alone. Lulu picking up Locket. She also had Ruby Sightstone and a Chalice, so a good amount of armor, health, and magic resist in that department. Nunu, Shirelia's has the Warden's Mail and also a Runic Bulwark. So those three champions alone, very, very tanky. And Ezreal early on with those double Dorns, like we talked about, combine that with the life steal and then the life vamp from Blade of the Ruined King. So all very good things. And then Arthur on Lux, he could sit as far back as he wants because his main focus was to get that ult across a couple, 3 to 4 people at once, and then in turn to start chaining out those light bindings and lucid singularities. And as you saw, by going legendary, his positioning was perfect. His ability placement was also perfect, and that's what turned the game in their favor.
And an outstanding game played by both teams. TLC coming back and taking a one game off of Dirt Nap Gaming. We're now 1-1 in the series, guys. We're going to go ahead and take a quick break while we get the third game set up. Don't go anywhere again. I am Asylum, this is Nubius, and this is the Community Showdown.